but I don't think you're worth that to me. I think we just got to jump right in.
Awesome. Works for me.
That's some harsh word for the host here.
Well, to be fair, so he is a guest, but this is the second time you've been on the locker room.
That is true. Yes, way back, when was that? The fall of 2014?
No.
Yeah? Or 15?
No, because we graduated college in 17 and I was at GU, so it was
So junior year?
It was either 15 or 16.
So the
Down.
fall of 15.
In
fall
Moscow.
of 15.
Moscow.
Yes, in Moscow.
Yeah, that was a good time. Well, anyway, I'm your host, Justin Reed. Alongside today, I have Josh Geiger, not Andrew. You can see our lower thirds there.
Who the heck is this? Nice.
Actually, though, here's his lower third, in case you need to know.
Oh, dude, come on, man. Okay, that's not necessarily entirely accurate.
We are sponsored today by Northwestern Mutual. It's Josh Geiger specifically with Northwestern Mutual.
For God's sake.
So
yes, for all of your financial planning needs.
He's the one to go to for sure. All right, show number 78. Here we are in the Holly Mason building, a block and a half away from the Diamond Parking Services office where you parked. Number 78, Mariners, Jose Godoy. Any Seahawks? You're looking at my list.
No. Actually, one just came to mind.
Okay, who do we got?
We just took him in the draft last year.
Okay.
Probably will never play for us, but Stone Forsythe.
Yeah.
Out of the University of Florida.
There you
if
go.
I remember correctly.
Yep, that is correct. What about Snacks? Snacks Harrison was 78.
Was he really?
Yeah, for a minute.
As a D lineman?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wow.
Do you have the chat open by chance?
Oh boy,
Oh,
I
Lord.
do. I
Here
haven't
we go.
gone to it
Do I
yet.
even want to see this? Somebody's going to be targeting.
Blindside 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's the big forehead man?
I was going to say somebody's for sure.
Is Blindside McWhippy?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I was going to say somebody's for sure going to
That's
target
pretty
my
funny.
hairline in this live stream here today.
That's
so.
awesome. I
Thanks.
think that is McWhippy, but
Who the hell's McWhippy?
he's just our longtime viewer. Longest.
McWhippy, man, he's the OG.
Yeah,
Is this one of our friends?
I don't know. We've never been able to determine who it is. That's
Nice.
the hard part.
the most we can determine is he's British. Is that correct?
We think so. Just because he uses like
Married.
yes, for now at least. It sounded like it was an unhappy marriage. How is marriage? Happy?
Well, I still got the ring on, so things
Oh.
are still chugging along.
Yeah.
We'll be married 3 years in June.
Wow.
Been the best 3 years of my life. Love you if you're watching at home.
She's supposed to be watching, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
You know, I would pick Natalie in long term. I've been friends with her longer, so she, if anything ever happens.
That is valid. That is valid.
DJ Fluker, number 78.
Oh, yeah, Fluker. Yeah.
Yep. Alvin Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Jokel.
Oh, that was terrible.
Bradley Sowell.
Yeah.
Tyler Columbus.
Oh, wow.
That's about it. The most famous one is Bob Newton.
Who the hell's Bob Newton?
He was started with the Seahawks their inaugural year, played for 5 years. Actually was pretty good. I don't know who he is. I've never heard of him.
Huh.
He played for, the Bears drafted him. Hey, AJ, there we go. AJ has a nice connection here. I'm sure he's
Nice.
watching. Yeah, I don't know what he was a guard or a tackle. That makes sense. Played for Chicago for the first 5 years of his career, then moved to Seattle and played the final 6.
Huh.
Nice. Well,
Never have guessed that.
I don't want to talk too much about football yet. We'll get there.
Yes.
Zags, going dancing
Going dancing.
again,
Yep.
as usual. Good games, good competitive games against San Francisco and St. Mary's.
Yeah. So, FYI, for those of you viewing at home, I have always ragged on the WCC and the lack of competitive games that Gonzaga plays in that conference. And all I ever hear from all my buddies is, oh, look at WCC's record against the Pac-12, yada, yada, yada. I will say the WCC is stepping up their game, but again, I feel like sometimes that bites them in the rear when it comes to tourney time. But we'll see. What are your predictions for the tournament?
Zags minimum have to get to the Elite Eight. If they don't, it'll be a massive failure.
I
I
agree.
predict I can see a national championship again, just as last year. You
Okay.
think what? Do you think otherwise?
The thing that concerns me with them is the lack of guard play in comparison to last year. I mean, it's pretty hard to replace Jalen Suggs. I think Nemhard played as a nice kind of role player last year, and I'm not sure if I trust him coming down to crunch time, but time will tell. So
Right.
they're gonna tip off Thursday, right? Since it'll be a 1
It'll be
seed.
Thursday, Saturday. Yep. In
Right.
Portland next week.
Yep.
I'll be down there.
You're going? Oh, I didn't know that. Nice.
And if they win, like they better the first 2 games, I'll be in San Francisco the week after.
Oh.
The most beautiful city in the country.
Oh boy. Yikes.
Super fun. I mean, we're super. Actually, I am pretty excited to see the Golden Gate Bridge, homeless people, Alcatraz.
Yes, Alcatraz.
That'll be nice. It'll be kind of fun to see. All the hills.
Yes, all those
Have you been
hills.
to San Fran?
Never have. No, my sister went and toured college down there. I didn't get to go on that trip because I'm the second favorite child. That's a lot. That's a story for another podcast.
Yeah, that's a nice little ad there.
No, I've never been to San Francisco. I've heard actually pretty good things about it. Obviously, the Full House home there, R.I.P. Bob Saget.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know much about.
I'm surprised that you haven't had more head injuries. Speaking
Thanks.
of Bob Saget.
Thanks. Oh my god. That's valid, actually.
Gianni said, "What's up, Big Dome?"
Nice. Thanks, man.
And that is McWhippy, by the way. My mom put a heart, so she's. She's
Hi, Diane. How are you? Nice to see you on the feed.
Yeah, she's here.
Who else is?
Oh my God.
Can you read that or no?
No, I can't read that one, but you can read it though if you'd like. This is McWhippy, I guess.
We're doing it last.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yikes.
yeah. That's nice. All right. Well, let's keep. Yeah. So again, back to the Zags.
Yeah.
What do you expect? I say minimum. They have to make it to the Elite Eight. Obviously, championship aspirations are there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because unlike previous years, I feel like there's not really any dominant team in the tournament this year. The thing that worries me about Gonzaga is if somebody's punching him in the mouth and is physical and the refs are letting him play, that just worries me. And so I do not anticipate a championship, unfortunately. I would agree with you. I would think anything short of at least an Elite Eight is a bust at this point. But we'll see. We'll see. I just have a hunch that they're gonna come out hot in the first and second rounds, and then I don't know. They might run into a team like Alabama who owned them in Seattle.
Yeah.
So you just don't know.
The nice thing about this season is there's not another amazing team like Baylor was last year. So you don't have someone who's like, they're going to meet each other in the national championship. Zags right now have the second most efficient offense, 7th most efficient defense, the only team in the country in the top 10 in both. The closest team is actually Arizona with 8 and 12. I think this season, you're right. The physicality aspect is a huge issue that they need to figure out. And even Mark Few said that they're going to go hard in practice to try and alleviate some of that.
Right.
But you look at what happened in the championship game against St. Mary's, and the guards played really well. And that's the key, is if those big guys get shut down, that's fine. If Timmy gets shut down, that's fine. The big problem is what happened now 12 days ago, is when Timmy's not playing well and he makes mistakes.
True. Now let's pump the brakes on that. It was against St. Mary's.
Okay.
I'd be curious to know what your prediction is on how far St. Mary's is going to go in this tournament.
So St. Mary's has the 9th most efficient defense. Like, they have a really good defense. They actually have, out of all the teams we have faced this season, UCLA is 15th. Texas Tech is 52nd. The other really good defense that we have played, where were they? There was another really high up defense that we had played, but essentially St. Mary's is the best defense that we have played this year. Their pace, their defense is problematic for a lot of teams. And I think for St. Mary's, it's a Sweet 16 or bust for them. They have to make it to the second weekend. They have to. They're going to be potentially a top 5 seed. They probably should be. And same with San Francisco. San Francisco has the talent to be a second weekend team.
Oh, boy, here we go again.
I mean, because they have the difference. The thing with San Francisco is they can score with anybody in the country. They have those 2 guards who are going to be able to knock down shots. That's the key for them. But St. Mary's has to. If San Francisco loses in the second round, that's whatever.
They're just happy to be there at this point.
Oh, that's the first time they've been there in 40 years. I mean, and the cool thing for San Francisco, this is the first time ever that San Francisco has hosted, like the city of San Francisco has hosted the NCAA tournament since the NCAA tournament is in its current March Madness type format. But I want to say it's the first time in like 70 years that they've hosted, though, which is crazy for a team, for a city with a decent college team, obviously, their history, and obviously being so close to the Bay, you would think with everything going on there. Just trying to go through all these messages here.
Now, just real quick, though,
Yeah.
again, on the St. Mary's front.
Right.
Like, yeah, they have the 9th most efficient defense. But, and again, all these people that are out there, whoever you are going to roast me for calling out the WCC. But again, turns out they probably had high defensive efficiency against Pacific and Portland.
So you're right, but
And Pepperdine.
the efficiency is weighted based off of opponent. So
Okay.
it does get weighted differently against lower quality opponents.
Who are their non-conference teams that they played this
St.
year?
Mary's? Usually it's pretty poor, actually.
Naturally.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see who they played. They played GU 3 times.
That is true.
So that's nice. But yeah, usually they don't really play anybody. They get a lot of flack for that. They played Missouri State,
Ooh.
Stan State.
Ooh.
They did play Colorado State, who is ranked. UC Riverside. They did play Wisconsin, only lost by 6.
Okay. Wisconsin's, that's fair.
Utah State, actually, they're not very good. They played Notre Dame. Oregon, they beat Oregon by 12.
Yeah.
They actually had a decent schedule. They beat Bellarmine by 9, their tournament team. They would have been, actually, but they did you hear about that? So Bellarmine won their conference championship, but they can't play in the NCAA tournament because this is their first year in Division I, and the rules state that you can't be in the tournament your first year, so they can't make it.
The good old NCAA.
So the team that lost gets to advance. So that's
Oh,
fine.
actually?
Yeah. Yeah, so the second place team gets to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they were going either way. So that was a win-win situation for them. All right. First off, let's talk about Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West proudly services over 60 Windermere offices in eastern Washington, Idaho, eastern Oregon, and Montana. They are all in for their local communities. At Windermere Services Mountain West, relationships are the foundation of their business. Their mission is to be successful, team-oriented real estate professionals committed to exceeding expectations through exceptional customer service. They are Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West is committed to the communities in which they live and work. They are all in for you. Windermere.
That's great.
You'll unfortunately for you have multiple friends in the real estate business, so you probably aren't going to use Windermere. But they're great, and you should.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
of
heard
course.
great things about Windermere.
So
That's
also,
where he'd be wrong, though.
what?
If he's not using Windermere, I mean,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
he hates his community.
This guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the people that I associate with that are realtors are just horrible.
I wouldn't go that far.
Just kidding. It's funny because I know Joel could be watching this, and I know
Does he watch this?
Francesco won't be.
Nice.
Sports. Right.
Yeah, true.
But no, Joel occasionally does watch.
Nice.
He hasn't in a little bit. He hasn't commented, and usually he would at this point.
Nice.
Uh,
How are we doing on the comments, by the way? Who's
things-
chiming in?
So Sam's girlfriend said Andrew looks different.
Yeah, significantly less.
Rejected
hair.
Penny. Who is that? I thought that was
He's another.
random.
Yeah, I think so.
I have seen the new Batman. You haven't. You wouldn't care. McWhippy is here. So
Super good.
McWhippy's now on Facebook.
heard
Gianni
that.
said, "Do you think that Montana State is a better school?"
Then who?
Probably any of the teams we've talked about.
Basketball-wise?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. They played the Big Sky.
Oh, do you think they're better than University of Montana?
No. Very funny. Very
Okay.
funny. He dropped out of Carroll College. So.
Hey, but he went to GU.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That is true.
That
is true.
It's like same with you. When you left prep, you went to Meade. You transferred up.
I did. Yeah. And it cost significantly less money than Gonzaga.
You're right. I bet your parents were thrilled.
You're welcome, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, McWhippy's there. Scotty said LOL. Blake laughed.
Blake Ellingson?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
his
nice.
birthday today. Happy birthday, Blake.
Happy birthday, Blake.
Yeah.
And hey, special shout out to my dad. Happy birthday. He's turning 61 today.
Nice. I didn't know it was his birthday. Is it today? March 10th?
Yeah, March 10th,
Nice. Happy birthday, Dan.
1961. So
Is he at work?
he's at work. Yep, 2 blocks from here. We're going to the Spokane Club for
Oh, guys,
drinks.
he's a member. Yeah.
Well, you know. Yeah, we're going to the Spokane Club for drinks here later today, and hopefully he doesn't get too shithoused like he did last year.
That'll probably happen. Which would you rather graduate from, Montana or Montana State?
Is that Gianni? Montana. Come on, man.
AJ asked us a question about a football thing that we'll be talking about in a second. Talked about the
Okay.
2 L's that we took. Gianni said, which one would you pick if a hypothetical girlfriend was closer to one over the other?
Oh, my God. Come on, man. Okay, next.
Scotty said your privilege is showing.
Okay.
All right. We'll move on
Nice.
here. Yeah, it's going to get rowdy for sure. All right. To get with the NFL talk, start off. Let's kind of slowly move in. Calvin Ridley suspended.
Yeah, it's only
Whole year.
$1,500.
Yeah, but then he lost $1 million.
But
Probably
how
to
dumb
11
could
million.
you? I just don't understand how dumb you could be. Don't you know the risk? Or
You're
do it through
100%
somebody
right.
else. If I
Right.
played in the NFL,
You have a bookie.
Well, if I played in the NFL, like you did for me down in Vegas,
Right.
I put $100 on the Cougs to win and the
That was an
over.
awesome bet.
And
Yeah.
the over.
You hit them both.
Yeah,
Nice
hit them
parlay there.
both.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he just give it to his buddy? Say, hey, just pay me whatever I win. Like, how could they trace it back to his name?
Yeah, because he placed it as Calvin Ridley, and then the people who like oversee like fairness and stuff essentially
Right.
reported to the NFL, and the NFL was like, "Oh yeah, that's our Calvin Ridley." And the best part is he's suspended for at least this year. They didn't say like just 2022. There he is. There's our boy.
Does he not look like Dwayne Wade?
He does look a
I
little.
feel like
bit
he looks a
Dwayne
little
Wade.
bit like Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I could see that.
To a degree.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, so that was pretty stupid. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. That is worse than like committing a crime. Like I feel like when you commit a crime, you're it not that it just happens, but like you commit a crime. This guy did he gambled. He knew even tweeted that he's like, I knew what I was doing was wrong. And it's like, then why'd you do it?
Right. Well, again, the gambling thing to me is ridiculous. Unless you're betting on your team to lose, you should be allowed
Right.
to bet on your team winning.
That's fair.
I don't understand that.
Like Pete Rose, that's exactly what Pete Rose did. He always when he bet, he always bet on the Reds winning.
True. Well, and when you compare all the other thugs that are in the NFL beating
Right.
up their girlfriends, and
Yep.
then they're like, oh, well, he's on trial, so he can still play, and then they go and suspend him for a year. It makes no sense.
Okay, well, that's a nice little segue in. So, would you take someone on your roster who allegedly has had some sort of like sexual assault sort of allegations?
Innocent until proven guilty.
Okay.
If he gets cleared of everything on Friday,
Okay.
I'm all aboard the Deshaun Watson train. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Gives us about half an hour here to talk about our savior, our boy there.
And I did bring a prop for us here today.
A nice Russell Wilson box. The jersey I'm wearing will no longer be able to wear on Seahawks Sundays, considering he doesn't play for them anymore.
Yep.
Weird day on Tuesday. Not how I planned my Tuesday to go. Not how I planned it at all.
Nope. I just got out of a meeting, and I was actually studying for whatever. It's a financial planning designation nobody gives a rat's ass about. But
You're right.
I saw our good buddy Tim Wilson's text, and it said, "Bad day for Seattle sports."
I thought it was an injury. I thought
same.
someone was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, literally everything. This was the bottom of my list of things that he thought that he meant.
Right. And I thought maybe MLB announced that they're going to cancel more games
Right.
or whatever because obviously the Mariners
That's a
are supposed
great
to be
point.
good this year.
Yep.
And then, sure as shit, go on Twitter.
There it is.
Take a
top
look.
thing.
There it is.
And it's everything. I mean, everything just lit up. And it was
Yeah.
fast. That's funny. Yeah, because I got a call literally about 5 seconds after that text. I went on Twitter. 5 seconds after that, Judd calls me.
Oh, right.
And
Yep.
then I was like, well, I'll tie you into this because I was going to call you anyway. And it was just, I mean, you're right. We'll never forget the moment that happened because it's such a franchise-altering move for a player a position that doesn't get traded like this ever.
No.
A guy not in his prime, but still in the heart of his career.
He's on the back nine.
He's on still highly successful, still on his best day, a top 5 quarterback. And it just doesn't happen. Yeah, I was just sitting in my living room, and I was not motivated the rest of the day. I was just in a weird place. It was a haze.
Yep.
The whole day, the rest of the day was a haze. And then after that, Bobby Wagner getting announced that he will be released. That was just rumored. Officially was released yesterday. 2 franchise icons, the last 2 players from the previous era of Seahawks football. This is a whole new era. Everyone who was on this roster hasn't been there longer than, outside of Lockett, 5 years,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah, something like that.
ish, somewhere in there. Because no more Super Bowl players. The only connection to the Super Bowl, a couple assistants, Pete and John.
Yep. they're
Even
the
Paul
bridge.
Allen isn't here for it.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yep.
So it's a really weird time. I don't want to talk too much about Bobby. That one was more expected. It still sucked. It still was brutal. He was owed $17 million as a middle linebacker, again, on the probably a little bit further back nine of his career, just based off of his physicality. Will be highly successful wherever he goes. Did you see the rumors this morning?
Mm-mm.
The very interested teams that were listed, the rest of the NFC West.
Oh, no. Oh,
It was
boy.
bad enough when Sherm went to the Niners. I would hate to see a guy who I really, really like
Yeah.
Bobby go. It would have been like Cam, if Cam would have went and played for the Niners.
Yeah, Bobby was certainly more beloved in Seattle.
Where would you,
than,
if you had to pick
sure.
an NFC West team for him to go to, who would it be?
Cardinals.
Then
Who?
Then after that.
Then the Niners.
I think so too.
And then the
hate
Rams.
that.
I hate the Rams.
I hate that. I hate that I have to say the Niners before the Rams.
Yeah.
It is a brutal situation. So aside from that, best of luck to Bobby. All-time Seattle great. Both guys will be Ring of Honor guys. Both surefire Hall of Famers. Just are going to finish their career somewhere else.
But I will say, to defend the Seahawks, because everybody's been ripping them, including who used to be one of my favorite broadcasters, Colin Cowherd. I think the Bobby move made complete sense. Again, we weren't getting the production we needed out of him for the money that we were paying. Mm-hmm. And Cody Barton showed some promise. Turns out he's cheap. And I feel like the defense really isn't going to regress because Bobby's gone.
I would agree with that. I think, especially based off of how now the defense is going to change without Ken Norton there.
Right.
But the focus will not be on the linebackers in whatever sort of scheme that they use. We're going to have to find pass rushers, and we're going to have to make sure that the defensive backs are up to snuff.
Yep.
Because, again, Jordan Brooks and Cody Barton show that they can fill in, especially Jordan Brooks, breaking the franchise record for Seattle Seahawks tackles in a season. So definitely some backups there. Now, as far as Wilson goes, guys on the roster right now, technically Geno Smith isn't even on the roster. He's a free agent. So really, the only quarterback on the roster is our boy, actually Drew Lock, is only Drew Lock when that trade does go through.
Locked and loaded.
Potentially, yeah, if that were to happen, if Drew Lock were to be the Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback opening day 2022, I don't even know. I don't even know how I would react.
It would certainly not be good. Now, again, everybody keeps ripping on this trade. Mm-hmm. Everybody, I think, could argue that we could have got more for him, but I do also think that Wilson definitely had a lot to do with pressing the issue and getting out of Seattle.
Yep.
So, again, I don't think all the facts are going to be known for quite some time.
If ever.
Yeah.
Right.
But, again, there's no way Seattle would sit there and say, okay, hey, Washington is going to give us 3 first-round picks, or Philly, 3 first-round picks, some other good players over what Denver gave them.
Right.
Again, Russ had the no-trade clause.
Yep.
And he got to dictate where he went.
It's true. Market runs, the competition in the market will drive forward how much in return that they could have gotten. And It turns out that every single NFC team was essentially off the board. That was made clear, allegedly, just based off reports that they did not want Russell Wilson in the NFC. And then you take that, half the teams off the board just right there, and you go to the AFC. How many teams does he really want to play for in the AFC? Most of the teams in the AFC that are good already have really good quarterbacks. And so it really narrowed down the options. Again, the return, you look at what they're going to do. Is it Deshaun Watson? Is it, Malik Willis there at number 9? Are they going to kind of tank this year and grab one of the other quarterbacks coming out next season? I don't know. I also am on board with Deshaun Watson, depending on what happens as a result to his case and his situation. Stud, 26 years old. A little bit of injury issues. I think he's had 2 torn ACLs in his career, not in the NFL. I think he had it once in college and once in the pros. But outside of that, I mean, again, another one of those guys with that it factor, the clutch factor, the mobility, a little bit more of a pocket presence, dare I say, than Wilson, I think. He has the height. He's 6'3", probably?
Yeah.
A little bit more height, and definitely would fit in whatever style that the Seahawks choose to go this season. But there's a big cloud hanging over him and what happens there. So
true. Well, that, and then let's say he does clear everything. What's it going to cost?
So, and I know we both listened to the Mike Salk show, and they were talking, and I kind of tend to agree, and I was saying this yesterday to people who were asking. I think it was AJ, actually, when we were talking about what Deshaun Watson would get in. Judd said, is that Brock and Salk?
Right.
I think Watson would command less than what Wilson cost to the Broncos.
Really?
Because he has made it verbally clear and very obvious that he does not want to play for the Texans any longer. He is coming off of an ACL 2 years ago. He has this legal issues that are still going to be, even if he does get cleared come Friday, it's still going to be hanging over him in some capacity, just based off of the court of public opinion.
For sure.
And he hasn't played for a full season, so you don't know. I mean, he's talented, but he took an entire year off. I just don't think he's going to command maybe 2 firsts, But I don't think it's going to be much more than that. I don't think it's going to require 2 seconds and 3 players to be able to get Deshaun Watson. Now, does Drew Lock get flipped to somebody else maybe as, again, another potential guy? He's still young.
But who the hell wants him?
Obviously Seattle in some regard.
There's got to be greater powers at work here.
And that's
There's
what I
no
mean,
way that's their end-all, be-all
Is
plan.
maybe there are people out there who do actually believe that Drew Lock has something.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think he got a fair shot when he was in
Right.
Denver. I think I heard earlier today, he's been through 6 different offensive coordinators since college.
Right?
So, again, I don't know how much you can weigh that in to his overall performance with his career in Denver.
Yeah.
But, again, I think he's a solid guy to have as a backup. I'll tell you what, I'd rather have him starting day 1 next year than Geno Smith. For sure.
You'd rather have Drew
Geno
Lock.
Smith
You'd rather
is a
have
dumpster fire.
You'd rather have Drew Lock week 1 starter than Geno Smith.
100%. Yep. I've seen enough.
All right,
Geno
we're done.
Smith.
Go ahead and stop the show.
Yep, see ya.
Interesting. I don't buy that at all. Geno Smith has proven that he can operate at high speeds.
Proven that he can throw like 8 for 18 for like 130 yards.
He's proven that
picks.
he's functioning when he
That's
drinks.
what I want as my quarterback. for
He's
sure.
proven that he's able to talk
Be
his way
very-
around authority.
Be very underwhelming. Yeah. With his DUI.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really do think that worst possible. Gardner Minshew, thoughts?
Oh, all day. We'll take it. He's a fine bridge.
Marcus Mariota?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick?
No.
Ryan Fitzpatrick or Geno Smith?
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Geno Smith is
Ryan
terrible.
Fitzpatrick or Drew Lock?
Fitzmagic on that one.
Okay. And this isn't long term. This is just to fill in, not.
I'd love
Not
Mariota.
long-term.
But I think Carroll and Schneider have made it abundantly clear that their path moving forward is going to be play good defense, run the damn ball. They don't need somebody to sling it all over the yard. That's not their philosophy. And if they can get a guy like Mariota that can fill in, run a little read option, and throw it 15 to 20 times, be efficient, we'll take that.
Jameis Winston.
Over who?
Any of them.
I'd probably, how many picks did he throw 3 years ago? 30?
Yeah, he was 30 and 30.
Yikes. I would say I'd probably take Mariota over Winston.
What about Trubs, Mitchell Trubisky?
Not a chance.
Over any of those?
No, no. But he did play for a pretty porous Bears organization for the past, to start his career. So I'm not on the Trubisky train. I'd take a flyer on him and have him as a backup, but we already have Drew Lock. So
would you have taken Teddy Bridgewater instead of Drew Lock?
for sure. I'm still confused why they wouldn't have traded for Bridgewater. Maybe they'd seen enough of Bridgewater and they're like, you know what, we've seen enough. We don't really want to go that route.
And maybe, again, this could all be, this is all speculation. This could all be a long-term kind of thing. What happens if they've talked with Houston and said, hey, we're interested in Deshaun Watson. We need to offload Russell Wilson. If we get Drew Lock, could that be part of the deal?
But couldn't other teams just come in and blow it up?
Maybe.
But between now and then, there's no binding
But I
contract
think
that
Drew
says,
Lock
hey, if
was-
we get rid of Russ,
Right.
then we're entitled to Watson.
I think Drew Lock was literally just a throw-in. And actually, Bridgewater's a free agent, so that's why.
Well,
that's
there you
why
have it.
they didn't trade for him, so that makes sense.
There you have it. If you say Jimmy G to the Seahawks,
I would hate that
I'm
as well.
walking out of here.
I would hate that. I'd rather have Trubisky just based off of his name and his background.
I would agree.
Than Jimmy Garoppolo.
I would actually agree with that.
Unfortunately. AJ was being nice to you earlier. He said, this Geiger guy is pretty good. Do you think he will let Justin come back when he takes over as full-time host? And then you said the stuff about Trubisky and the Bears organization. He said, I take that back. What I said about Geiger, hate that guy.
Nice. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, I completely agree with everything you said about what Seattle wants to do with their offense, their defense. Their foundational belief is still Pete Carroll's foundation.
Yep.
As far as how they want to run an organization. I do, and you mentioned this multiple times over the last couple of days when we've talked. You have to trust Pete and John. They got us there the first time. They've been in this position before. They came in 2009 with talented pieces.
Right.
With talented pieces in need of an overhaul. And they flipped that roster and were competitive year one.
Yep.
With Matt Hasselbeck at the helm, and they were Super Bowl winners 3 years later.
Yep.
And they had 2 first-round draft picks, got Russell Okung, Earl Thomas. They have 1 this year, 2 next year. they're in position to do the exact same thing. Now, unfortunately, the hardest part, which is what they were able to accomplish in 2012, is they need a quarterback to run the show. It's easy to build the rest of the roster. That's the easy part. The hard part is finding that guy who can run the show.
I agree with that. And again, there's this narrative out there that talks about, oh, Pete and John, they don't know how to draft anymore. I don't necessarily know if I buy that. Again, if you take a look at draft picks like DK Metcalf, Jordan Brooks, again, I really
Tyler Lockett. Yep,
Tyler Lockett. I feel like Trey Brown, who I think he's going to be an up-and-coming corner out of Oklahoma. That unfortunately, he busted his patella tendon. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I buy into that narrative that they don't know how to draft anymore. Right? They've done it once. I think they're going to do it again. Just the big item in question is Pete's age. I mean, he's 70 years old.
Yep.
I mean, how long can you frickin' do this without, without losing it?
He was, and what's crazy too is he said in the past, I guess, that he would have been done by now if it wasn't for Russ. If Wilson wasn't there, he would have been gone. So it's interesting that he's in this position now without Russ, and now having to determine and figure out exactly what direction this organization is going to go. It's fascinating stuff. Yep. It is really interesting. It's the first time Seattle's had a first-round draft pick this high since 2010. It's fun in that regard. It's new, it's different. It's just scary because it's the unknown, and it's a position that we haven't had to be in for 10 years, not having a franchise guy, and a position that Seattle so famously has been in this boat before, just throughout its history. They've had really good quarterbacks. They've had Zorn, they've had Dave Craig, they had Matt Hasselbeck, but they had Warren Moon for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, there's been a lot of just down years. I mean, Seattle did nothing for a long, long time. I don't see that happening just based off of who we have in place and the trust that you have to have in the guys at the top running the controls.
I agree. And again, the Seahawks did not have the second most wins between 2012 and 2021. I mean, just by having Russ.
Just on this guy. Right.
Just on this guy on the Wheaties box.
Right.
Again, Patriots between 2012 and 2021 have had 115 wins. Guess who's number 2? Yep. Seattle at 105, tied with Kansas City. So again, this idea that Pete and John have lost it and Russ was everything that held them together, I just don't buy it.
Well, then you look to what the Patriots have done. It wasn't all on Brady. Brady's an amazing winner. Yep. But he was not the best quarterback during that impressive run. He was not. Drew Brees was a better quarterback. Peyton Manning was a better quarterback, but Brady was the better winner. And if you look at what Seattle's done, Russell Wilson was not the best quarterback. Aaron Rodgers had that title. There were a couple other guys who probably could have had that title, but he was a winner. He was a winner. He knew how to drive the guys, and that's exactly what Brady did.
Yep.
And so I think that's where, you're right. I think when you look at what Pete and John and what this organization has been able to do over the last 10 years, 12 years, it definitely has to be put back on the shoulders of the guys who built that team, not just on the guy, again, who's sitting there on the Wheaties box.
Totally.
So Judd wants to say, do we draft a quarterback this year? I don't think so. I don't believe so. I think they'd rather go this year without a top-end guy and get a Ryan Fitzpatrick, Marcus Mariota, fill in for a year, and then draft next year. Because they have 2 first-round draft picks, give them two options to hit it. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I will say, Malik Willis out of Liberty, guess who he has a very similar play style to? Deshaun Watson.
Right, yeah.
Again, I know he comes from a small school, but he could potentially be a really good fit. Now, this Pickett gentleman, the guy with the midget hands, I don't know if he's necessarily the answer, but I think in order to be successful in this system, you have to have a quarterback that's going to be mobile and can be durable too. And I think that's really what we're going to miss more than anything with Wilson is how durable he was. The dude never missed games.
No.
Outside of course, that finger injury. And I really think that this is all Aaron Donald's fault for injuring his hand. I don't think we'd be having this conversation if that didn't happen.
Probably not, because we'd be in the playoffs and making a run, I think.
Yep.
Because Wilson, after he came back, after the couple weeks warm-up period, he was really good the last 3-4 weeks of the year.
Right.
Yeah. So we do have some breaking news. Let's move on a little bit. CBA signed.
Get out.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Tentatively. So
beautiful.
We are in good shape for baseball. So that does take away our last segment about the worries of a potential lockout or the extension of the lockout. So they will salvage a full 162-game season, and That's good. Good news.
Play ball, baby. That's
So-
great. And have you announced to the audience about the plan to go to Boston for the Mariners series?
I did mention that I was going to Boston, I think, but I did not, explain that there's going to be, 5 of us going?
Yeah. There's a crew.
5 are going to meet up with our buddy Eric over in Boston after 3 years of him saying, hey, you guys come visit us, and nobody has.
That is true. Well, and shout out to Eric for starting the locker room.
Right,
Way
yep.
back, again, in, 2015?
Yeah, would have been 2015 probably.
So
Yep.
he's the one who started all this.
The founding member who will make an appearance on this show this calendar year. 'Cause
Yeah.
He'll be back, and I did promise him that he will be able to make some appearances because, again, this is his baby. So graciously let me absorb it.
Absolutely.
And take it along. So, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. We got to figure out where we're staying, though.
Staying, you said?
Staying in Boston, yeah.
Yeah, Airbnb or hotel. I hear it's graduation weekend there, so that's probably not the ideal time to go, but going to see the Mariners at
In Fenway?
Fenway, it's going to be awesome.
2 games, a night game, an afternoon game.
Yep.
We'll get some nice Boston time, go see all the rats over there.
Oh, the Rats. Nice.
The wharf rats and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, so really good news there. Oh, I did want to mention this. You saw that Jerry Jones is getting sued?
I did. Yeah.
So I didn't read into it. It sounds pretty legit. A 25-year-old woman is suing him, alleging the billionaire paid her mother hundreds of thousands of dollars in '96 to conceal that he was the girl's biological father. At the age of 1, the girl was bound to secrecy by confidentiality agreement signed by her mother. He denied it, but there is a trust set up linked to the girl and her mother.
Actually?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's not a good look. How old would he have been in 95?
Jerry Jones.
He must have some swimmers, man.
Age.
So
So that was he's 79 now, and she's
he would
25.
have been 54?
Yeah, I guess that's not.
50. Yeah, you see that happen.
Yeah,
Well, good for Jerry.
still nicely done, Jerry. Unfortunately, he's denying it, so that probably can't feel great for Alexander Davis here.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a shame. Oh, it's Jones quartered her mother when she was working at the American Airlines ticket counter.
Nice. That dude flies commercial?
And he flies American.
Interesting.
Wow.
If you haven't noticed yet, this guy has very strong opinions about very irrelevant things.
American Airlines sucks.
See, there we go.
And
Yep.
our buddy Max Shepard, his dad flies American. That's the only good thing. And doesn't fly, sorry. He flies like he is a pilot for American Airlines, but they made me miss a flight one time, and I'm still bitter about it. But Alaska and Delta are the 2 best airlines, and it's not even close.
You don't like Southwest?
No.
You don't like getting free peanuts?
Yeah, I get free pretzels on Delta, and I get free cookies on Delta and Alaska.
Oh, all right. Sorry, man.
Yeah, not interested. I don't like the stress of having to run onto the airplane and pick my seat. I'd rather know beforehand.
Yeah. They call it the Walmart of airlines.
It is
Southwest.
It
Yep.
for sure is. That's why Judd flies Southwest. All right, let's talk about some of the top Seattle sports people in history. Wilson's up
Okay.
there. Griffey's up there.
Edgar's
up there. Okay,
Yep.
so this for sure will tarnish his reputation, though. He will not be considered in the same category as Edgar, for instance.
Well,
Just based off of not talent, not success, just based off of pure love.
the fact that he's not a lifer.
Right.
I agree with that somewhat, but again, it's all going to depend on what comes out with. Again, was it really Seattle wanting to flush him, or again, did Wilson force his hand?
Mm-hmm.
Again, my assumption is that Wilson forced his hand, and this whole like dog and pony show about
He said, she
everything's
said.
good,
Oh, yeah.
everything's good in Seattle, no worries. I think that was a bunch of crap.
Yeah,
And-
that was bad.
And I think he's been wanting to get out all along. I will say I was surprised that he went to Denver again, albeit because that doesn't really do much for. Is it Sierra or Ciara? Please chime in if you know.
Sierra, for sure.
Sierra, I don't think that fits in with her lifestyle and what she's trying to accomplish in Hollywood.
And
But
that's
I don't know.
Then that's what Coward said was a big deal to her, at least.
Right.
And-
That's why they were saying, that he just got to go to New York or
and
something.
and Vegas or whatever, which would have made sense again with that whole Derek Carr thing. But yeah, I also think Denver is odd in that regard. Denver, Seattle, it's not really a big difference. Still West Coast, still don't get the same coverage as anyone on the East Coast would.
Yep.
I
Other Seattle icons? Matt
Ichiro,
Hasselbeck?
Hasselbeck's up there for sure.
Yep.
Walter Jones
For
is
sure.
up there.
You mentioned him just now, Ichiro.
Yep, Ichiro's up there. Lenny Wilkens, if we're going back to the Sonics.
Oh, wow. Gary Payton.
Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, probably he was kind
And
of
then he
pushed
got
out.
traded.
I mean, he was pushed out. Now that was a situation where Seattle pushed him out. It wasn't the other way around. He actually was forced out. Same with Payton. Payton did actually kind of want to leave, but it wasn't. Well, he wasn't saying like I want to leave. But when he left to where he wanted to go.
Then he
Let's
went to
go
the
through
Lakers.
some
And,
of the list here. Steve Entman. I don't know.
Steve Largent.
Steve Largent. Yep. Sue Bird's on that list. Clint Dempsey, I think, is actually on that list because he spent a very large majority of his soccer career in Seattle. Big soccer guy here. What's up, Sam?
Nobody cares about
Well,
soccer.
if you're talking just greats that have, are you talking just basically any great that has played in Seattle sports for more than a year? You can't forget about Allen. He was on the Supersonics.
Yeah.
I do love me some Ray Ray.
5-6 years.
No, I was trying to remember his nickname. Ray Ray.
He was on there for 5-6 years, wasn't he? Yeah.
And top 3 shooter of all time. He, Steph, and Reggie Miller.
Yep. I agree.
Yep. Warren Moon's on the list. I think he was kind of because he played at UW. That was nice. Edgar, Lauren Jackson. I
Randy
guess.
Johnson.
Yeah, Randy Johnson.
Marshawn.
Yep.
Marshawn for the Super Bowl run that they had.
Marshawn's up there. I mean, again, some other guys, Sherm. A lot of guys who were there for the Super Bowl are on there. A lot of Mariners who were there in '95 are going to be on that list. You look at the Bone, Jay Buhner.
Oh yeah, Jay Buhner.
I mean, there's a lot of guys who are on that secondary list just based off of not so much talent, but just like a collective group of people who deserve to be on that. '95. A lot of the Sonics from the early 2000s. Russell Westbrook, definitely big Seattle guy.
Nice.
I do like Kevin Durant because I like when he wears Mariners hats.
That's
games.
cool.
That part's fun. That's the only thing I like about him.
He's so dramatic.
Oh, he's so dramatic. Well, he's an NBA player.
I know. It is pretty dramatic.
That's what that means.
So we were talking previously about about Seattle icons and heroes. Who were the villains of Seattle? Who does Seattle
Colin
sports
Kaepernick,
hate?
Michael Crabtree.
For multiple reasons.
We're looking at Seahawks specifically.
Yes. Yeah. I would agree.
We look at
Crab's mediocre, man.
Yeah, he's just mediocre. I'm the best in the game.
Don't you talk about the best.
That was just so funny, that going up to Aaron Andrews and her face and everything.
That was pretty good.
Howard Schultz.
For sure.
Sold the Sonics.
Yep.
David Stern, in connection with that, is up there. I would say...
You could even go back to the AFC West days with Seattle. And they hated John Elway.
They hated Elway.
Because he whooped them.
Every single time.
Year after year.
Every single time.
A-Rod.
A-Rod's up there, unfortunately. I think that hate has dwindled as the years have gone by.
Yeah.
I think Griffey there's a tinge of hatred when he first left, but then it's like, well, he had a reason he wanted to be closer to his family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys throughout the years for the Mariners just because of how much they always got beat. There were a lot of guys that I hate. Sean Figgins is up there.
Geez.
Sean Figgins is very high on that list.
Yep.
Cliff Lee, Carlos Silva,
Eric Bedard.
Oh boy, there's a lot of people on that one.
There's a ton.
Steve Hutchinson got kind of some flack, even though it wasn't really his fault. He got kind of stolen. There by the Vikings, but he was. People were disappointed in that situation.
Jimmy Graham is up there.
Jimmy Graham's up there because we hated him before. We kind of liked him, and then we hated him at the end, and now we extra hate him. Yep. I'm kind of starting not to like Greg Olson.
Yeah, I agree.
Some issues with Greg Olson, which is really unfortunate because I did like Greg Olson.
Yeah, he comes in, plays 3 games, collects $7 million,
and then
goes
talks trash.
Talks trash about the Hawks.
Yeah,
now,
that one was unfortunate. I never liked Steven Jackson. He always ran all over the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, true.
That one was always rough. I really appreciate Larry Fitzgerald, but I hated playing against him.
Yep.
Because I really like Larry Fitzgerald. Who else really stands out? I hated Navarro Bowman.
Patrick Willis.
Why. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
we're pretty much naming the entire 49ers roster.
Right. It was because it's either there's a couple categories. One, you left Seattle on your own accord. You were really good when Seattle was really good, or you were really good or just good when Seattle was bad. And that encompasses every single sport, every single generation. That's essentially puts you as hated.
True.
Right now, I don't really like Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I agree. He's a whiner.
There's a lot of guys actually I don't like on any of those teams.
So to put the football conversation to bed, is this a hot take or not? And I believe this. Will the Seahawks finish with a better record in 2022
we did,
than they did this last year? I would say yes.
See, I don't think so. Okay. If they get Deshaun Watson, yes. If they get anybody else, no. Literally anybody else. I don't see them. I could see them matching their win total, but I could see them going 5-12.
I don't think so. They have a ton of cap space, a bunch of draft picks. I think the roster as a whole will be significantly better this next year, or this year I should say,
Right.
than it was in previous years, for sure.
Okay.
Outside of course, the most important position in sports, which is quarterback. So
Last question before we have to end here. You have to go off to a meeting. Third base for Seattle. Would you rather see Chris Bryant, Trevor Story, and Correa as a third baseman, but Carlos Correa?
Can't stand Correa.
Okay. I'd agree.
Chris Bryant.
I agree.
The injury history worries me, but
my issue with that discussion, so, okay, Correa is the best of the three, but I would hate to have to root for him. I would, but I would hate it.
I agree.
The issue with Trevor Story is he's played his entire career in Colorado, and his numbers are severely inflated at Coors Field, and that's the issue for me.
True.
I think Chris Bryant's a good guy. He's a West Coast guy.
Yep.
Good
friends with Paul
positions.
Sewald.
Very good buddies with Paul. I went to their wedding. That was fun.
Yep.
Or a wedding. I also like Chris Bryant. I would like them to get another pitcher. How cool would it be to get like Michael Pineda as a nice little fill-in?
That'd be nice.
They need it. They need, just based off of their injury history, as a rotation, but also, looking at a guy like Emerson Hancock, he doesn't have the ability to pitch all season long, because they don't like to have them pitch too many innings when they're young and blow out their arms. But essentially, I would agree. Mariners, now that the season's actually happening,
yes,
free agency is going to open really soon. Then,
yeah. When does this take effect?
So
can they start calling people tomorrow?
Tentative right now, and it doesn't say when for sure. So it will return in early April. But yeah, it doesn't say exactly when. Oh, now comes the frenzied free agent period. And it doesn't say when, though. I would have to guess that if it's tentative, they're going to want to get it signed and rolling. And if that's the case, I think as far as I understand is once that thing is signed officially and both agree, I think things are open.
Beautiful.
I'm pumped.
Play ball.
I am
Play
so
ball.
pumped. I'm pumped to see what the Mariners do. They have plenty of money. Not a ton of big moves that they need to make as far as like amount. They just have to make a couple impact moves. They've already done a really good job with that already. We're going to skip Jabroni in closing time just to stay on time here. The Jabroni actually of the day is going to be Andrew, and it will be Andrew moving forward until he gets a schedule fixed. So we're going to have a few guests just popping in, whoever wants to do it moving forward. You might see this guy again depending on his schedule. We'll see how it all happens. But this was the locker room number 78. We are here in the Holly Mason building. Thanks again for coming by.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your Wheaties box. You haven't even opened it yet.
Nope.
It's going to rot through the box.
It's for sale.
Yeah, how much? $12?
Yeah, $12. That's a very fitting number.
I was going to put my jersey as a joke on Instagram and be like $12 or best offer, but
nice.
This jersey will forever. I am not upset with Russ. I will not root for him. I hope the Broncos lose every game.
I agree.
I hope Wilson has horrible stats, but he will always be a Seahawk.
I agree. 100%.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you guys next week.